أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا مولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the universe, the Master of the Day of Judgment. I bear witness and testimony to the oneness of Allah, to His magnificence, His omnipotence, His might, His glory, to His being the creator and sustainer of all things, the giver of life, the guider of hearts, the Master of the Day of Judgment. And I bear witness to the fact that Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is His servant and final messenger. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him and upon all those who choose to tread His path until the last day. Quite often when we experience the month of Ramadan, as many of us were blessed to do over the course of the last weeks, may Allah accept it from us and make us from amongst those who benefit from it on this day and every tomorrow we experience in this world. The notion can linger that renders a state of anxiety, longing for something that we have left behind. The idea can manifest in such a way as if what now comes forth in terms of more opportunity for experience that is meaningful while we still live in this worldly existence. A shadow overwhelms it, saying, how is today going to be anything like it was for the days that we just went through? But just like the 29, 30 days of Ramadan have barakah to them, the first of Shawwal has barakah to it as well. The blessings that you experience, that you were blessed to actually go through, were not meant to be something that you engage so that it informs what lies ahead in terms of a perception now that sees what is not there, but to help you to affirm everything that actually is in front of you. The notion that we want to think about is rooted in an idea that many of us understand in terms of we've heard it again and again, but where our theology posits for us an opportunity to think about where that vision might get skewed and how it's rooted in knowledge that many of us have engaged and heard at some time before, but need to think about a little bit critically in this day so that it informs how we live the days that are going to come beyond this one. In an Adamic narration of creation, the Prophet Adam, peace be upon him, is standing now centered, and everything in the heavens is commanded to prostrate to Adam alayhi salam. And everything that's in existence does so, save Iblis. And he interjects now a mindset that says that I am of fire and he is of earth, then why would I debase myself in this way? The acts that he engages in are important for us to understand, because paralleled now is the opportunity, as the shayateen are unchained from these days going forward. May Allah protect us from the waswasa of shaitan. That the biggest thing that you could fall into is to replicate what the ill behaviors were of Iblis on that day. That his act is an act of arrogance. May Allah protect us from having any arrogance in our heart. His act is an act of just flawed logic. The analogy he makes has no substantive basis to it. His act is the act that initiates all acts of racism. And may Allah protect us from ever harboring any ill will towards others or the ugliest form of arrogance that believes by simply the virtue of the fact of where we were born or who we were born to or the color of our skin determines how we stratify society and let ourselves be above others in any way, shape, or form. Iblis was the first racist. You don't want to be racist, because when he stands on the day of judgment, when Al-Adl is taking us all into account, the most just, and says, Ya Allah, you kicked me out of Jannah for doing the same things that these guys do. Why are you letting them in? All of these things inform now what is critical to understand in that moment, that everyone does what Allah says to do, and everyone sees what it is that they see, but Iblis sees it different. And based off of the absence of depth to his perspective, he engages in this act of racist, illogical arrogance. May Allah protect us from it. You gotta be in a place where you understand for yourself that the vulnerability of what you might get exposed to in terms of adversarial elements that don't want us to succeed will be subjective to you. If you've never sat down and thought to yourself, well, where would I be most vulnerable? Because the entry point from Iblis into our hearts is not by anything other than our volition of letting him come in. الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ, the sadr that Iblis whispers into, that chest, is the outer layer of the heart. Knocking on it the way anyone would knock on a door to gain entry. But just the same way that somebody knocks on your door and somebody knocks on my door in order to come into our home, you can't go into somebody's house without their permission. And what Allah has built us as is that by our permission, through us, Iblis comes in. Where he's going to get you is where you're most vulnerable, not where somebody else is most vulnerable. Where he's going to seek to enter is going to be based off of where your insecurities lie, your anxieties lie, where your anger surfaces to a mode of irrational behavior, where everything goes helter-skelter. But the idea is to understand that the act in and of itself that he brings you to do when you slip is not the ultimate goal, but to get you to believe through it that you are no longer in a place where you can have a relationship with your Creator. That what you did is so terrible that you are beyond the mercy, the love of Ar-Rahman Al-Wadud. That you exist in such a way that there's just no point to get back up again. If we're going to slip in the coming days, may Allah make it easy for us. Those who are around you, they're going to slip. Don't be the reason that when they're down that they fall even further. And definitely don't kick them when they're down. But you want to be able to help one another up, and you want to be able to help yourself up. And to have this consciousness, this awareness that recognizes that this is something that whether we believe it or not, it will be true. And what you've been able to do is exert now in the formation of something that can guard, so long as you don't give the entry point that says what lies ahead, there's not any gain to it because it's not what it was in Ramadan. Maybe everybody just move in close. You can make room for people as they're joining in. I didn't think this many people were going to show up to Jumu'ah today. I thought it was going to be me and our beloved sign interpreter. Ashraf would be here because he's a good Muslim. But you know. You gotta get to a place where you start to just think about it. You gotta think about belief in such a way that it's not something that you just abstractly discuss. You don't just sit in a circle and you point fingers at other people and engage in just mindless discussions that bear no real impact. You gotta sit down and just really think, what do I believe, man? What is it demonstrated through my thoughts, my actions? What is it from my behaviors? Just looking at myself, how do I determine what is very real to me, through me, in terms of what I hold as an ideal? And then you start to understand through the prism of Ramadan that some of the things that we chase after, they just don't make sense. But what didn't make sense there and what started to make more sense as you went through it, it still is applicable in these days. And where Iblis will get you the most is to let you think that there's just no point after this part. If you are praying into the late hours of the night, then pray what you can in the night. If you were fasting in Ramadan, then keep fasting. if you were in a place where you were giving in charity, you were volunteering, engaging in acts of generosity and kindness, then you want to continue to engage in acts of generosity and kindness. Don't make people's lives miserable. Be a person who is engaged in deliberate senses of beauty. The hadith says, "Inna Allah rafiqun wa yuhibbul rifq wa yu'ti ala rifqi ma la yu'ti ala al-unf." That indeed Allah Azza wa Jalla is kind and He loves kindness, and He gives for gentleness what He does not give for harshness. We were just out there talking to a sister who took her shahada like a week and a half ago. I won't say who it was, but it was Maya. And while we were talking to her, she had, mashallah, a little late to the Eid prayer in the morning. She'd been a Muslim for 2 weeks. And so we looked at her and we said, "Oh man, you missed it. You got to fast for a month now." And she said, "What? Is that true?" And then she didn't know whether it was true or not. I said to the brother, "This is a lot of fun. She doesn't know." But then we said, "No, you don't have to fast for a month." You want to be in a place where you understand that this world needs Muslims who actually see Ramadan as just a part of an entire world that exists. That you have so much more to go through in the course of your life. And you want to have an awareness, a consciousness of what's coming ahead. And to think now on this beautiful day of Eid, where like 4,000 or 5,000 of us just prayed together in this park. And you had the beautiful day surrounding you. The warmth of friends and community. That not any one of us was in a place where we were alone. And this is not what the reality is for many people. And at any moment where things get heavy and things get dark and you don't know what direction to go in, you recognize that there are moments of luminosity that can inform for yourself what actual perspective you should have. So you see it for what it is and not what it is not, and you're able to take from it as much as you can. When you saw all of these lines lined up at all of these places, example that I have used before that some of you have heard, where I've taken my kids to parks all over the city, and there's been times when we've gone and they want to see what they can get from the ice cream truck or the ice cream vendor. My son Kareem, my daughter Medina, when we got to this place and they saw this huge line, the way some people stood outside of the building and saw the line to get in. One of my kids said to me, "I don't want to wait in this line." My other kid said, "I want ice cream." So my one kid just left, and the other kid stood with me, and at the end of it, one of them had ice cream and the other didn't. And the kid that did not have ice cream said, "I wish I had some ice cream." But one of them saw the line and one of them saw the ice cream. What are you going to see? Are you going to see the heaviness of taking a subway down to a place that you came for an entire month and justify not coming to a place that you know increases you in blessings? Oh my goodness. Hey, my man. What a great day. Nobody's laughing at you. He said stop laughing at him. Are you scared? Oh, yeah. I forgot what I was talking about. If you are in this place now, you have to choose perspective. That's going to be what influences decisions. Perspective is going to determine for you whether or not you are going to act in a certain way or not act in a certain way. Because anybody can see something in a certain way, but how you see it is not telling you about what it is that you are looking at. How you see it is going to tell you about yourself and what's going on within you. And you're going to have to stand up to that waswasa, because it's going to come heavy and hard. It's going to tell you that, you know what, tomorrow is a better day to go and pray in Jumu'ah. Wait till next week to start fasting the fast that you could already be fasting. Somebody else is going to be the one that is making sure that people are seated comfortably at the Jumu'ah prayer. Or I'll just watch the live stream. We'll eventually say that I'll just listen to the recording, which will eventually say that maybe I'll just catch it when it comes again a year from now. There's people in our community who, subhanAllah, were praying with us in the late hours of the last 10 nights as they got the difficult news of their loved ones, their parents passing away just in those moments. People who are younger than you and I, who did not make it to celebrate this day of Eid. This is not meant to be a morbid thought, but to be able to enhance perspective in terms of how you utilize the time that you find in front of you. It's not about chasing after things that don't make sense, man. And don't let shaitan play games with your head. Be in a place, the realities of what you experienced. Who you were in Ramadan is who you are. It's not a past tense. It's just about now understanding this is my capacity, my potential. What am I going to do with that information? Not an escape from reality, but a mechanism that enhances me so I can understand what is actually real. Our tradition teaches us that a sign of true faith, deep iman, is that once you have it, you would never want to go back to a place where you were where you didn't have it. It's not because you detest people who come from different walks of life. It's not so you can breed gibber in your heart and believe that by any reason whatsoever you are elevating yourself above others. When you've tasted real sweetness, you've tasted what real contentment can be like. You find what is actually what your inside yearns for. When you have felt that, why would you want to go away from it? Why would you not want to be who you know you can be? And what are the things that are going to get in the way from being able to help you each and every day experience growth that even if it's gradual, it's still growth nonetheless? So utilize this day of Eid, this blessed first day of Shawwal, to think within yourself as to what is going to come in the days that lie ahead. Kun fi dunya ka'annaka gharib or abir as-sabil, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, that be in this world as if you are a stranger or a traveler. I don't know about you, but every day I see what the heaviness of this world brings to us. It brings me to a place where I'm so grateful that Allah has given me the ni'mah, the blessing, the gift of Islam. I see some of the ways that people validate and justify treating one another, not just even out of outbursts of emotional anger, which doesn't make it justifiable, not just when they are not in control or they're running on empty or exhausted. There are literal human beings right now, as we sit and celebrate our holiday, who are sitting in places all together trying to understand the development of strategy that incorporates also, this is how many people that we will be fine with losing their lives because they don't have access to healthcare. This is how much money we will make as we continue to create funnels for communities of color, our black brothers and sisters getting pumped into the prison industrial complex so that other people can have their pockets deepened and widened. This is why it's okay for us to support a military industrial complex and glorify war day in and day out so that we can continue to sell weapons and destabilize and rebuild and destabilize and rebuild and destabilize and rebuild, because the people that were in those spaces, any of them, we don't actually see their humanity. There's humans that are like that. Can you imagine? And may Allah never make us from amongst them. If you're not grateful for the gift of this deen that's been given to you, that helps you to know better, to understand that what it is that you need doesn't always coincide with what you want, that how it is that you move forward is never in a prism of egocentricity, because there's nothing nafsi that serves as a key to Jannah. But that you and I and all of us together, we exist in a sphere of interdependence, and that what I do, whether I choose to understand it or not, or accept it or not, will bear impact on all those who are around me. So each and every day that Allah blesses you to have breath in this world, choose beauty always. Choose goodness always. Choose righteousness always. Choose to be a reason people have hope in this world, never the reason that people will dread it. Choose to be bold enough to live everything that it is that you've been given. This becomes really hard for some of us at times. Because it's not necessarily that we live in reaction to what we know are areas of improvements of ours. But many of us get to a place where we're actually scared to admit that we have so much ability to do what is good. Because the moment that you and I can actually recognize it, what reason do we have to actually then not live it in that way? What justification can we have when we can say that, yes, I actually can offer this thing? Utilize the Mubarak day of Jumu'ah, the blessed day of Eid, the conclusion of what was a month of just mercy, rahmah, and so much gain and increase. And allow for yourself to think, why did God give you this thing of Islam? What are you going to do with your remaining days in this world? Will you be one who will be dismissive of yourself and degrade your own self by saying that who you are is only limited to a certain time of the calendar year? Will you thank the Divine for showing you who you are and helping you to see yourself the way He sees you, Azza wa Jal, so that you can start to live to the fullest of your potential, and then just get done what it is that you have the ability to, simply because it's the right thing to do. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله تعالى فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا مولانا محمدا عبده ورسول. For those who are standing, we have our live stream set up. No, you can keep standing, it's okay. Yeah, whatever you're comfortable with. Sorry, we're having conversations with each other. There's a lot of people in the room, apologize. But the live stream room is set up downstairs as well. If people are kind of cramped in, but maybe we can have people move up just a little bit more to make those room for those who are still trying to get into the space. The prophetic recommendation is that in this month of Shawwal, you want to fast 6 days of it. There are different opinions on how that works, that if you fasted the whole month of Ramadan and 6 in Shawwal, then the hadith says as if you fasted the entire year. Those 6 days can be consecutive, not on the day of Eid, but any day beyond that. If you come here quite often, we do iftars right now on Mondays and Thursdays, and you don't have to do these consecutively, they can be spaced out. Some people would say that if you do any 6 days in the course of the year in its entirety after, that it still suffices and counts for those days. The idea is to have continuity, right? You don't want to be in a place where what you know and how you act on what you know starts to distance itself from one another. Contentment is rooted in keeping those two things close. That you have a deep connection between what you know and how you act upon what you know, rather than just knowing something and then not doing anything with it. And for many of you where it might have been your first time being with us today, or you've been here for many times prior to it, I pray inshallah ta'ala that this is a gathering that we continue to see your faces in, that we continue to benefit from your presence, that this space offers to you an opportunity for your own growth and increase, and that you help us to build it and grow it in whatever ways that you uniquely can. It's been a beautiful day of Eid thus far, mashallah. What a great day, huh? And you want to really allow for yourself to take an understanding as to how you continue to gain and benefit from it. Make sure you tell the people that you love them today and every day that you can. Make sure you tell the people that you are grateful for, that you appreciate them, and that they have a special place in your life and in your heart. Don't waste your time on this day or any other day engaged in just foolishness of idle talk and gossiping and lying and backbiting. Don't hurt other people's hearts. And all you gotta do when Ramadan ends is just continue to keep being who you are and try your best. That's all our Creator wants from us. It's not really too much more than that. Inshallah ta'ala, you'll see that things will just change as you not seek to understand only the world outside of you, but when you engage the world within you as meaningfully as you can, the experience of what's external will just be totally different. Our programming, our halakas, everything that we do, they're going to start again right from Monday, and we'd love to see you where we can. But if this is the last time that some of us will be together, then I pray inshallah ta'ala, Allah Azza wa Jal will gather us all together again in the best of places in the world beyond this one. But thank you for making this day of Eid such a blessing so far. Inshallah ta'ala, Allah will continue to allow for each one of us and our loved ones to have that many more joyous moments as this day of Eid continues. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد في الأولين وفي الآخرين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين. We begin this supplication in your name, Ya Allah, and beseech you to send your choicest salutations upon your most beloved sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. We ask that you shower your infinite mercy upon this gathering, granting each and every one who is present here and our loved ones only the best in this world and the best in the next. We ask, Ya Allah, that if all of us are meant to be together only at this time, at this place, whether we are young or old, male or female, regardless of our race, our ethnicity, our social class, our country of origin, our cultural heritage, whether we are Muslim or come from a different walk of life, Ya Rabbi, if our individual hearts are meant to be in the presence of all other hearts that are gathered here, only at this time, at this place, then gather us all together again in the best of places in the world beyond this one. Ameen. Increase us, Ya Allah, in all that is good. Make us a people who are grateful for everything that you have given to us. Help us to recognize every blessing, every ni'mah, every opportunity, every opening for what it is that you intended for it to be for us. Let us never be those who utilize the gifts that you have given to us in a way that is displeasing to you. Thank you, Ya Rabb, for the gift of Ramadan. Accept from us all that we did within those blessed days and nights. Make us those who carry its lessons and make it concrete in our lives, not just by reflecting and remembering, but acting upon each and every piece of knowledge that we took from it. And if we slip, Ya Rabb, we fall into behaviors or habits, practices that we know are things that we would never want to be a part of us. Help us to be kind to ourselves, to be forgiving of ourselves, and surround our hearts with those hearts that are gentle and tender that can help us to remember always your mercy and your love. Protect us always from hearts that are not humble, tongues that are not wise, and eyes that have forgotten how to cry. Forgive us for our shortcomings and guide and bless us all. رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وقم الصلاة.